Cardinal sports are heading into the heart of the CCIW schedule, and some teams are moving up the rankings, eyeing the postseason. The women's basketball team is still looking for their first conference win, but have been competitive in every game. There's only one place you can catch all the latest on North Cenrtal College sports, right here on the Cardinal Report. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. I'm Marc Dahlquist. Joining me this week is women's head basketball coach, Michelle Roof. Coach, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Mark. Appreciate it.
So your team's in the middle of a tough stretch of games right now, still looking for their first CCIW win. What's been going on with this tough schedule as of late?
Well, I think, as we talked before the show a little bit, this year, even the lower tier CCIW teams have improved over the past couple of years. It's a tough schedule night in and night out. And, we understand that we've got to put 40 minutes of good basketball together in order to get a win against the competition they're playing right now. And I think we've played well in spurts. We've showed some things and even had, maybe a little bit of bad luck fall our way. But we've got to put it together for an entire basketball game. We haven't quite done that yet in conference play.
Even though you guys don't have a win yet, a lot of these games have been a lot closer than the final score dictates. I mean, you played the number one team in the conference, Elmhurst, very close in the first half. The Wheaton game, you guys were within one, a minute 30 into the second half. What's been the problem in the second half with this team not being able to close it out?
Well, our area of emphasis this year has been on the defensive end, and offensively we've gone, we've had a little bit of scoring droughts in the second half that we've struggled a little bit. And when our defense can maintain the intensity and rebound well out of it, we typically are able to keep it close and, have had some leads in the second half also. But we've struggled a little bit rebounding wise, and again, struggled scoring at times, which we're trying to work through and, throw in a couple different looks offensively for, the second half of the conference season.
You guys didn't have any trouble scoring early in the second half against Wheaton College. Talk about that game. I mean, you guys pulled in so close, and then Wheaton, the Thunder just started shooting lights out, it seemed.
They did. I mean, it seemed like they shot lights out all game. I think they ended up about 55% from the three-point line. And they had actually struggled shooting a couple games, before that. So going into the game, I had kind of thought about that and, on their home court was hoping that wasn't the day that they were due to have a hot shooting day. But we talked at halftime and said that we really had to make a run at the beginning of the second half, that it was very important to close the gap in the first couple of minutes. And we did it and got the intensity up. We hit some shots, had some defensive stops, and then they just went on a run. I mean, they got hot. They moved the ball so well. We struggled a little bit again on the defensive boards, and they just kind of ran away with it.
Well, the Cardinal Report was there to see the tough loss against the Thunder. In case you missed it, let's go to the highlight. Emily Collins and the North Cenrtal College women's basketball team invading King Arena at Wheaton College to take on the Thunder in a CCIW matchup. Thunder jump out to a 5-0 lead, but Emily Murphy puts the Cardinals on the board with her 15-footer. But Taylor Potts would get hot from behind the arc for the Thunder. She would drain 3 in the first half and 4 in the game. She led the Thunder with a game-high 18 points. But the Cardinals wouldn't let the Thunder pull away. Lauren Hernandez drains it with the shot clock expiring. Then from the corner makes it a 13-9 game midway through. Cardinals staying aggressive as Helen Malaya pushes it up the court to Collins in transition. Then Malaya from the baseline, going through the Thunder defense. Cardinals down 8 at the half. North Cenrtal comes out fired up in the second. Sophie Newson driving the baseline hits the floater. On the defensive end, Emily Murphy with the block. That leads to Newson driving, spinning, and finding Emily Collins, who fakes out the defender and goes in for the lay-in. Malala pushing it up again hits Newson in the corner for 3 of her 8 points. And all of a sudden, the Cardinals are only down 1 less than a minute and a half into the second. But the Thunder respond in a big way. They go on to hit 8 three-pointers in the half, shooting over 50% from behind the arc. They led by as many as 24 in the half, and the Cardinals fall at Wheaton College 48-70.
So, Coach, going into Wheaton College, you guys don't come out with the win, but that's a tough place to play at King Arena, isn't it?
It is, and they were, picked second in the league at the beginning of the year, and they've struggled a little bit as of late. They're still beating good teams. I think they were, 11-4, when we came in. But they're a good team. It is a tough place to play. It's a nice arena. We just didn't really stick to our concepts defensively in the second half, which, really got us down quite a bit.
You also mentioned rebounding was a problem for you guys that game. How have you stressed that this week in practice?
We have. We've been stressing it all year, and I think we're doing a little bit better than we were, last year. What's happening right now? We're getting to players. We're putting a body on players, but the physical play in the CCIW, we're not pushing them back deep enough. And when you have a team that shoots a lot of threes, there's a lot of long rebounds. So many times against Wheaton, we were in position, but the ball ended up going over our head, and they did get some good looks at the basket.
That's got to be tough when a team's shooting from long range so much. I mean, you could have the best position in the world, but it's just bouncing back to half court.
Yeah, you just never know. I mean, there's one play that sticks out in my mind that they end up getting 3 threes off in the same possession, and that's just unacceptable when you're playing a better team, and every possession matters. So we need to get better at that.
Sometimes the ball just isn't bouncing your way.
Yeah.
But this team, has shown some signs of life, like you said. And it seems to be that this team has a lot of depth. There's not one player that you guys are really relying on. There's almost a committee of players that can come in, almost like a second starting 5, essentially, and come in and really contribute.
Yes, we've had pretty consistent offense throughout the entire year from a lot of players. We go as many as 11 to 12 people deep in the rotation, and I think right now we have probably 7 or 8 players averaging between 6 and 9 points a game. So in one sense, that's good because we always have somebody to go to. And in another sense, we're really looking for somebody on the team to step up and consistently, kind of be that go-to player on offense. We've got a lot of young kids in the program and some experienced returners that we're looking for someone, to kind of separate themselves, so we know exactly who to get the ball to in certain situations.
Do you think that's helped the team stay healthy this year, or have injuries been a problem?
No, we've actually stayed fairly healthy this year. We've been lucky. Knock on wood. Don't talk about that too much, but we've been fortunate. We've had a lot of people in practice getting good reps, and our rotation's been deep all season, and that's what we like. We're able to pick up the intensity defensively a little bit more. And, our players go out there in 4-minute spurts, they come off the floor pretty tired, and that's what you hope for, that you can go hard, for 40 minutes if you have enough people to do that.
Last year you had one of those players that you could really rely on, and sort of carry the team in first team selection to the All-CCIW, Jackie Rico. You guys lose her this year. How have you been able to sort of, you can't really replace a player like that, but sort of help fill the void?
Well, we're filling the void by committee, I guess you can say. Losing Jackie and Chrissy Carl to graduation, it did hamper us offensively. But I think we've had, some nice young freshmen come in that are stepping up and playing some big minutes. And Jackie is now a graduate assistant in our program, as you know. And so we still get a little bit of her intensity and enthusiasm, I think, that carries over to the team. We'd like to have some of her scoring, but I'm sure by the end of the season we'll find a couple players that are, going to step up and be able to do that.
Does she ever lace up the sneakers in practice and go head-to-head with the team, even though she's an assistant?
She does. In every game, she wants me to put her in there, under a different name as a joke. Come on, coach. The conference coaches won't know.
They won't even realize. I'm sure they would, though.
Yeah, absolutely, they would.
It's got to be tough for her. I mean, being on the team and then sitting on the bench, this year. But I mean, has she contributed, being a coach with you?
She has. She's done a fantastic job with the players, and they really respect her and respond to her. She was such a hardworking player, and she brings that on the coaching side of things too. She, obviously, she cares about the program, and ultimately, she just wants to see us win. And whether that's as a coach or when it was as a player, she just has a big heart for the Cardinal program and really loves our players and puts a lot of effort into it every day.
Your team actually has a higher scoring average and a higher field goal percentage than your opponents this year. What can be done to just get more wins in the the win column?
We got to stop people defensively. We have a goal every game to hold our opponents under 60 points, and we feel like if we can do that, we're going to be in a position to win at the end of the game. And so far, we did a nice job of it in the non-conference. We're still, we have some players that don't have a lot of experience at this level yet, and so we're still adjusting, I think, to the physical play. And figuring out, what CCIW basketball is about from the player standpoint. But that's what we've got to do. We've got to be able to hold people to one shot and hold them under 60 points.
Do you think this team has been a lot more effective in the first half than it has in the second half of games?
I think we've come out strong as of late. We have built some leads, and even in the non-conference season, we had a couple of tough games where we had some big leads in the first half that ended up, fizzling away a little bit in the second half. But that has to do with, I think our inconsistency, a little bit on the scoring end. But defensively, we've been pretty consistent, and I think we just need to carry it into the second half.
So only CCIW games remaining. Does this Cardinal team want to, play the upset card a little bit?
Man, they do, and that's, I have to give them credit. They want it, they believe, and I believe. I think, that we have the opportunity to compete and win every game we play if we can put a complete game together, which we haven't quite been able to do so far. But the players want it. They're working hard in practice. They're hungry. They feel it when we lose, and they just want to win.
Well, we look forward to hopefully seeing a few of those wins coming up soon.
I hope so.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, Coach and I will be joined by two players getting the job done on both ends of the court. Keep it right here on the Cardinal Report.